We begin tonight with a warning from the President to state governors to be disciplined in the management of state resources and brace up for tougher days ahead because the nation's economy remains in bad shape. Now, this is according to the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and Governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari, after a meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and state governors which held behind closed doors at the presidential villa. Governor Yari, who briefed journalists after the meeting, said the president blamed the economic situation of the country on the People's Democratic Party, which left the nation's infrastructure unattended to for 16 years.
I responded by thanking us and telling us that the economy is in bad shape and we have to come together and think and rethink on way forward. He wondered what happened in the past. You have been capturing him talking about this. I'll repeat and I quote. President says for the 16 years of the now opposition party and with oil 2.1 million barrels at average of $100, many infrastructure are in bad shape. And for him, he's going to open a vigorous campaign. And these are key issues that you're going to raise with Nigerians so that they can weigh their choices. So Mr. President talked to us in the manner that we have a task ahead of us. So we should tighten our belt and see how we can put Nigerian economy in the right direction and how we can put the infrastructure decay of Nigeria in the right direction. So all of us as leaders, those that are coming to National Assembly, those that are coming as governors, and I as a coming back as a president, inshallah, we should not think that it's going to be easy. It's going to be harder than before, so we should tighten our belt. This is the message of Mr. President. Thank you very much.
For 2.5 hours, vice presidential candidates of 5 political parties were given the opportunity to tell Nigerians their contributions to the development of the Nigerian state if elected. The debate is organized by the National Nigerian Election Debate Group and the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria. The candidates who participated are Alhaji Abdul Ganiyu Galadima of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, Khadija Abdullahi of the Alliance of the New Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Peter Obi of the People's Democratic Party, and Umma Getso of the Young Progressives Party. Now, one key issue that all candidates spoke passionately about is the fuel subsidy, which has remained a recurring topic among successive governments. The vice presidential candidate of the ACPN, Ganiyu Galadima, says the party belongs to the deregulation school of thought and would do away with the practice altogether.
The government in power we do is to do away with subsidy. You do away with subsidy. Firstly, there are a lot of inefficiency in the system. The PMF, the petroleum importers, sometimes it's round-tripping. They do round-tripping. In addition to this, there is no effectiveness in it. And let me tell you, by continuing with subsidy, we are killing the economy of this country and we are killing the people. We are doing away, our government in power, by the grace of God, will do away with subsidy. What we do is to deregulate the sector. In a situation where you fix prices, you are indirectly telling people not to come, but nobody will bring his capital into a venture that is not profitable. If petroleum product, if our crude petroleum is deregulated, there are international investors and local investors that will come to this country to come and establish industry, thereby creating so much jobs for our people. ACPN government in power will deregulate the petroleum sector because subsidy is not even in the interest of the common man. Some of us will have as many as 20, 30 cars. What are the common people on the street? The poor peasant farmers, what are they benefiting from this? Some of them don't even have a bicycle.
Well, it was a robust argument indeed on that topic as the vice presidential candidate of the Alliance for New Nigeria, Khadija Abdullahi Iya, believes subsidies should be removed because it's enmeshed in corruption.
Subsidy in Nigeria is fraught with corruption. Subsidy in Nigeria is fraught with corruption. And if transparency is being applied to the excess money being gotten from the balance of the subsidy, is going to tackle a lot of problems that has fraught the nation. What we're big on in Alliance for New Nigeria is the fact that, number one, we'll attack the institutions to ensure that there's enough transparency, there's enough technological issues, technological GPS that is being upgraded to ensure that every kind of corruption is tackled. If subsidy is being eliminated, what we want to do in Alliance for when it comes to is to, number one, diversify the economy, which I've mentioned before. If we're able to diversify the economy and stop the dependency on oil products, we'll have little or no problem at all with subsidy. And once we are able to get the residue of the subsidy, we're using it to also do the 4 important things that we've always talked about.
Well, that's not all on the subject, as there was another view in the room. Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, pointed out that subsidy removal, while possible, shouldn't be done just yet, as it will drive up prices of petroleum products to the detriment of the common man.
I think the major problem with subsidies are just the abuses that can attend a subsidy. A subsidy is not inherently a bad thing, it's really the abuses, and I'll explain very quickly. Now, what happened under the old subsidy regime was that several independent marketing companies would simply come in and say, we delivered 5 cargoes of PMS, whereas they delivered nothing or delivered only 1, and so they made the subsidy in the difference. Today, it is the NNPC that's the sole importer of petroleum, so it is on the balance sheet of the NNPC that the subsidy is being taken. Now, let me say also that if today you were to remove subsidies, petrol prices could go up to as high as 220 naira per liter, could even go higher. Now, there is no country in the world, at least even the most developed countries, that don't run one kind of subsidy regime or the other, for the simple reason that sometimes you just need to take some of that effect, some of the cost effect away from your citizens. So, for example, America subsidizes agriculture, subsidizes production, subsidizes all sorts of things. Now, if you have a petrol subsidy, and I'm not saying that it must be there forever, but if you have the petrol subsidy, it helps. Because the moment you remove the subsidy, prices go up. We experienced it earlier on in the regime. Prices went up from 86 to 145 naira per liter. And then there was cost-push inflation. Transportation prices go up, food prices go up, even rents go up. Everything goes up.
Well, there were 5 candidates, so we present you yet another perspective. For the vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Pt.1, deregulation of the petroleum industry will work if done properly, and prices will come down.
Well, what we are subsidizing today is inefficiency. If you get it right, the price will still come down. There's no way a country can have a budget of 340 billion naira for health, which translates to 5 naira a day for its citizens, and then pay 1 trillion for subsidy. There's no way you can have an education budget, which is the most critical component of your development, at 400 and something billion, and you're paying subsidy of 1 trillion. It is a waste. You need to reverse it, because you're not paying, they're not dealing with the engine that will drive your economy tomorrow. Everybody knows that even petroleum itself is a baggage economy. At the time people are developing a new economy, and then you're not paying attention to that. What are you actually subsidizing? Look at it. Nigeria has one of the low car ownership in the world. It's 10 per thousand. So we have only 2 million vehicles, and you're paying almost 1 trillion when you have 87 million people that are poor. You can't do that. It's totally, you need to reverse it. And I can tell you, if you do the right things, the price will come down because you're just paying for the delay in importation, the number of time cargoes stay in the port, and everything. We can't continue to pay for inefficiency in this country. I can tell that you can remove it, do the right things, the price of petroleum will come down.
But that's not all, there's more. And for the Young Progressives Party, that's the YPP vice presidential candidate Umma Getso, she's of the view that deregulation of the petroleum sector is neither here nor there because she describes it as a scam.
Well, we've never been in government before, but the people that are presently and those that were have said a lot about the subsidy. I could remember during Jonathan when subsidy was removed, Nigeria was shut down. We were all out, which leads to a lot of things now. And along the line, during the early regime of President Muhammadu Buhari, still subsidy is removed. And Nigerians were so patient, thinking that we are going to achieve something. So I think you throw a question to us, but I don't think, as I'm standing here today, have much to contribute, but to throw it to Nigerians. There was subsidies removal and still subsidy removal, and nothing has been done. I still had them saying they are still paying subsidy, and the lives of Nigerians have not improved, and we've not seen anything substantial or something tangible on the ground. So to be candid, subsidy to a typical Nigerian is just a scam.
Away from the vice presidential debate, the Federal Capital Territory High Court has removed former Cross River State Governor Donald Duke as the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party. The court, sitting in Maitama today, declared that the former Minister of Information, Jerry Ghana, as winner of the party's presidential primary election held on October the 6th. Professor Ghana had gone to court seeking a declaration that Mr. Duke was not eligible to run as candidate in the SDP presidential primary. Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf, in his judgment, held that the party's zoning and rotation formula, as contained in its constitution, was binding on all its members. He ruled that since both the party's national chairman, Chief Olufalaye, and Mr. Duke are from the south, it violates the provisions of the party's constitution. The court also voided Mr. Duke's victory at the primary and ordered the SDP to forward Professor Ghana's name to INEC as its party flag bearer for the 2019 presidential election.